So these are the things people don't talk about before you start beekeeping. They say, get the hive, you'll get honey, you'll get wax, it'll be fantastic. But once the brood frame, everyone talks about swapping your frames up from the brood to give the queen more space to lay, which is essential, or your hive will do the bunk and go somewhere else. There's a bit of wax moth in there. So you can see here that this is a really old brood frame that I've taken out of a hive, and I've put a fresh foundation frame in, and they'll build that out and make new wax, and the new wax will be, you know, light and lovely. These cells are really small, and that's because every time the bee lays eggs, every time the queen lays eggs, all the excrement from the bee makes the cell a little bit smaller until you get small little cells, and you'll get smaller bees, which affects the productivity and the health of your hive. So that's why you've got to swap these old frames out and give them nice fresh ones. But what you've got to do is, you know, get something sharp, get in there and just scrape this all off, and you can see it's pretty messy, and it's all sticky, gooey, just old shell. It's not nice wax. You will get a little bit of wax out of it when you melt it down, not much, but yeah, it's an important job. But they don't tell you about this with beekeeping. They don't say, oh, Friday night you'll be here scraping crappy frames out so that they can be nice and cleaned up to re-put your foundation in. Anyway, happy scraping. Friday night in the honey shed, spinning and melting wax. And I thought that I would carry on from my video the other day where I cut all of the brood frames, the dirty black brood frames down, and I'll show you what I do with them. But this is our wax melter. So I've put all of the dried chunky black brood frames in here. You can do it in a pot. Melted it down, 90 degrees I think it got up to in this one. And then I'll just scoop a chunk of it out off the top, get the wax out. They say that you don't get much wax out of these old brood frames, and that you may as well just chuck it in the compost, but that's not true. You actually do get maybe a kilo or so of wax, and it's really good to use that for you know, rubbing up your next, if you use plastic frames or whatever. Oh yeah, it's just, you don't ever waste wax, ever. Anyway, so then yeah, you've got most of the old crappy stuff out of there. You can see it's all the insides of the cell with all the excrement, and this had a lot of wax moth in it because this hive, the wax moth got it. Oh, most of that went in the bucket. I won't tell Craig. But if you have a look in here, oh, can you see? It's like thick. Like the whole top is thick sludge. But see the yellow wax on the side there? There's still a lot in there. Definitely worth doing. If you've got a lot of hives, it's worth investing in this wax melter, or a wax melter, so you can just sort of chuck it all in there, chuck some water in, filter out the crappy stuff, and then just pour it into buckets at the bottom. Yeah, very good. So before I showed you putting all your brood frames in the wax melter, and now they're coming through. So I took away 1 bucket of water, which is what I put in, and now I'm just filtering. This is just a rough filter through a chucks as it comes out, and you can see how gross it is. Normally it comes out and it's not this dirty, but the brewed ones are always going to be almost black. It's just disgusting. But like, that's still probably a good, I don't know, 3-4 kilos from about 15 frames, maybe 20 frames of really black brewed. So definitely worth doing.